Afternoon, everybody. So my name is Erica Smith and I am the Assistant Technology Lead for High Furlong School. And I've been asked to work with Neil to create the series of Accessible Tech Thursdays, which will be running throughout the course of the demonstrator programme for all pupils, really, those with and without SEND. So we've chosen text-to-speech to be the first tool because it provides access to so many learners facing lots of different barriers. So it's very much about, this has definitely got a place in the mainstream classroom as well as for supporting those pupils in special settings as well. And who is it for? Everybody. So any students with VI, where reading is that barrier, if you're wanting comprehension to be the activity, but the reading side of it, those students struggling to read, everybody can use this with the right support. A bit of training early on.
Yeah, I think that's so important. There's something to be said about not just reactively dealing with the needs of your learners in the classroom that you know about, but anticipating the needs that might come about or other learners that might join your classroom. And this is one of these tools that just helps so many people. So what we did, rather than listing the kind of disabilities and the various different things that people might have that might benefit from this, we decided to give some very human examples of what things that we've come across in our kind of years working with learners. So for the top left one, we print off pages for Marcus in a large font. So presumably here, Marcus has some kind of visual impairment. Depending on what level he has, he could actually be reading the text using text-to-speech. We've got Laura needs a TA to read the text. Now, does she? You know, is she always going to have a TA available with her? Is she going to have a TA available at home?
And how is she coping with that TA not being able to go into her bubble at the moment? I think that's something we're finding in schools, isn't it?
Exactly.
I don't know about your settings, but
exactly, it's so timely.
Yeah, they can't just bob in and out the classroom as they would. So we need, and then if we've got pupils doing remote learning from home, what are we using to support them when we haven't got that TA next to them all the time?
Yeah, we've got the text is too difficult for my class. Just to mention that there are some literacy benefits to this. It isn't just for learners who are struggling to access any text. It could be that they need some help just dealing with more difficult words. We've got he just can't concentrate and read and answer the question. And I think, Erica, that came about from something that you were saying, didn't it?
Yeah, I think because if you're approaching it in that multi-sensory experience to reading, they are not only reading, but they're kind of hearing that text back as well. I think it helps with focusing and kind of staying in that in the student's memory.
Yeah, I think you're right. And we also had she's confused by the tone of voice that the human readers use. That was one you were also very passionate about, wasn't it? Including.
Yeah, I think when you, especially with the students with ASC, when they're having to maybe ask for clarification or repeat several times, they're not getting that tone from a computerized text-to-speech as maybe they would if it was a human reader. And again, the voice can be slowed down, it can be sped up based on, you know, you can personalize it to the needs of the individual.
Great, and we tried to throw in a few that people wouldn't think about. So things like field trips with learners going out and about to museums and various different things. Can they access the text from the displays there? Can they learn from the things around them? Things that we just take for granted. We have to spend a long time correcting their work. So we'll talk about a tool that will help to correct as you go along with text-to-speech. And
I think that's a massive, isn't it? I think that comes up in that function in quite a few of the products that we're going to discuss this afternoon, isn't it, Neil? Yeah. That students can actually correct in real time because they're hearing it instantly, they're hearing it back.
That's it, yeah. And the phrase, our kids are digital natives, assuming that children have access to this digital world of information out there. And sometimes that's a false assumption to make, and that if we can give them tools like this, it can really improve quality of life. So what are the key features with text-to-speech? So one of the most important is choosing the correct voice. Learners want a voice that they're going to get on with. If they're using it every day, then it could become quite frustrating if it isn't a voice that they enjoy. So often there'll be features about male or female or what accent they've got, and often there'll be some inbuilt languages, but there'll also be some voices that you can download. So it's worth looking into that. Choosing the speed is very important, and some you can choose the pitch as well. Most we find have the speed on too fast by default, and I end up slowing it down almost inevitably. There's very few learners who need it sped up, and quite a lot who need it just slowed down a bit, so that's worth thinking about.
I think by nature, if you've got those students who are struggling to read, it could be that they've got that processing time as well, couldn't they? They need that extra processing time, so being able to slow it down and repeat back will be really useful for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Coloured highlights, so the words showing up visually as they're read can be really useful, not just for comprehension, but also association of that word with the sounds that it's making in the kind of earlier years. Talk as you type is the tool that we were talking about earlier. That means as you complete a word or a sentence, you can have it read back to you. So you can hear where the mistakes are, and you can hear whether you've typed what you meant to type. It's also a bit of a memory refresher. If you're struggling to put together a sentence, it can just give you that prompt to remember what you've just said.
Mm-hmm.
Selection method, that's whether you use the mouse, whether you use a touch screen, whether you hold the cursor over it. Some of these programs have different ways of selecting it, and that can make a really big difference. I know I started with a learner who had everything read out on the screen, and it worked for them, but it kind of drove everyone else a little bit crazy. But then it's about their access, and we found with a good headset, then no problems at all.
Yeah.
Running on startup is an important one that often gets neglected. It's another barrier. So sometimes we'll go back into schools and ask why the learner isn't using a tool, and there's no reason. It just isn't there. It isn't in their face. It isn't there. So if you can talk to your IT team, or message us if you'd like these programs to be run on startup, then that's very important. And some of the tools have the option to change the pronunciation, which is very important, especially with learners who get frustrated that their name doesn't get pronounced, or a common word that they use a lot doesn't get pronounced right. That can be something that can really disconnect them from this. Key considerations are to think about what platform they'll be using it on. It doesn't have to be one. You can have a learner who has a laptop, they have a phone, they have a scanning pen, they use their mobile. It's just worth considering what will work for them, trying not to bombard them with too much technology at once, and making it evidence-based. So actually seeing, is it working for them? If not, why not? Looking to future-proof it, so not just thinking about what they can use in the next few years at a particular school or in a class, but actually what are they going to be able to go on and use in the workplace? What are they going to be able to use in their next educational organization? Stigma is a really big one. When you've got learners who are tired of feeling different and tired of the always feeling stupid and always feeling like they're not getting things, then to add the stigma of something that will read out text can be quite a challenge, especially with kind of older learners. So it's worth being sensitive about that and just thinking about how to introduce this. But then that's a real advantage of introducing this at kind of earlier stages in education. Headphones.
I think just jumping in there,
Yeah,
Neil,
sure.
sorry. We just had David's just put in the chat box, and he's quite right. Some apps he's found that don't seem adjustable enough in terms of speed. And I think that's where these consideration, because we are going to cover quite a few free options, aren't we, in the webinar? But actually, if you need it personalised even further than that, it might be that you need to be looking at purchasing something that you can maybe personalise a little bit more.
Yeah, that's why we wanted all of the text to speech to be in one webinar, really. Even though it's a big topic to cover, we wanted everyone to kind of consider all the different options there.
Yeah.
Headphones really important, especially for learners with concentration issues. Being able to kind of cocoon them in the work for a short amount of time, or not necessarily the work, but also in chosen distractions or timeouts and things like that can be really useful. Support and training kind of go hand in hand. That's for both the learners and the staff involved. Often it's really good to roll these things out for lots of people at once, so everyone is supporting each other, and to make sure that staff and students are covered with that.
I think the training is really important, isn't it, in the beginning, Neil? Because whilst we kind of promote text-to-speech as a way of reducing reliance on adults, that doesn't mean take it out of the box, give it them and leave them to it with no training. It is like all technology. It's like anything, isn't it? It's just setting it up. Might take a little bit of support, but then hopefully it'll promote independence from then.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Okay, Erica, do you want to talk a little bit about the different platforms?
So we're going to cover the different platforms and we're going to show some examples this afternoon of different text-to-speech software that can be used on a variety of different platforms. So we're going to cover things that can be used in your PC, on the PC, instant. There's free downloadable ones which will be in the notes of this webinar, which will be emailed out to you after the presentation. Some of the free ones that can be used on straight away out the box, and yeah, we'll be covering the rest of the different platforms moving forward.
Yeah, great. So we're starting off with isolating PC, computer and laptop. So these are some of the tools that we've got. We're going to start by sharing a video from Claro. So if you can just bear with me a second, I'll get that lined up and check that the sound is working. Here we go.
Get any sound, Neil? Can't hear her.
Thanks. Yeah, sorry. I forgot to, after demonstrating it yesterday, last week, I forgot to tick the share computer sound box. There we go. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary from Claro Software, and I'd like to show you how we offer text-to-speech for anyone who needs some help with reading and writing. So it's available on all platforms, on your PC, on your Mac, your Chromebook, as well as on iPads, tablets and phones. So whatever device you have, we can offer text-to-speech with high quality voices and 30 different languages. So to have text read aloud, all you have to do is click play or press F7 and it reads it to you with highlighting.
To help students who need reading and writing support, for example.
You can change the voice by going into settings. There's lots of voices to choose from, male and female, and different accents, and 30 different languages too. Listen to a few.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's Oliver, a Scottish accent, Serena.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And you can change how it's highlighting, what colour, and whether it's a word or a sentence. You can also have PDFs read to you. So just the same, click and play.
Claro Ideas is an easy-to-use tool to support the creation and editing of concept or idea maps using.
It will read exam papers, and you can have them read either in Adobe with highlighting, or if you want to write your answers onto the exam paper, you can have it read in Claro PDF, which can be found in Extras. So here is a geography exam paper. You click and press play to have it read.
Question 3. River landscapes and processes. If you answer question 3, put a cross in the box D.
And then the great thing about Claro PDF is you can then type your answers directly into the paper.
Answer.
And it echoes back your typing as well. If you have scanned in a document and it's therefore a picture, then you can use the scanning tool to make it accessible so it also can be read to you. So this document is a picture, I can't click onto it. All I have to do is use the scanning tool. It shows the order it's going to read. You can have it saved as a Word document or a PDF. And now you can have that read to you.
iLog, an intelligent device for automatic flow.
So you can also have text read to you in a picture, or if it's on the screen but you can't click on it to have it read, you can use the scan from screen button.
This file claims compliance with the PDFA standard and has been opened read-only to...
So you can use the software to have text read in a browser, or you can download the Chrome extension or the Edge extension. That's what this blue speech bubble with a star in is. So that's the Chrome extension. So it looks very similar to the software, and you use it just the same. You click, then press play.
If you have difficulty reading and writing due to dyslexia,
And you can change the voice speed, highlighting colour, and so on. We also have iOS apps and apps for Android. So I want to show you, first of all, Scan Pen. You take a picture. So I'm using my finger to scroll down.
Punctuation can be used to connect groups of words. Bring these things with you.
Straight away to you. Really quick and really easy. Then we have Claro PDF. Claro PDF is so handy for reading worksheets and also completing them on the iPad. Really, really great for that. So let's open something. Document. So you can have this read to you.
Bertha looked at Curtis and Jutty and thought a very long thought.
And one thing with this, on the iPad apps, you can choose children's voices as well. You can change the voice, speed of the voice, highlighting all of that, but also you can annotate on the PDF as well. So that is Claro PDF, and you can also use Claro Speak, and you can type and it echoes back your typing.
Hey.
Word prediction as well. So that's how our software and apps can help anybody who has difficulty with reading and writing. Really high quality text to speech. Thanks for listening.
Okay, great. So that was Claro. We were quite mean when we set this challenge, and we made everyone that was sending a video do it in 5 minutes or less, which was quite a challenge, I think, for quite a few of them, wasn't it, Erica?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Oops, sorry, skipping through the slides. Okay, so next up we've got Texthelp Read and Write. So just bear with me a second. I'm going to share the screen with sound.
I'm Patrick, Education Technology Strategist.
Sorry, Erica, what you were saying?
I'm just saying, you did it first time last week. The
I know. Lulled you into a full sense of security.
I'm Patrick, Education Technology Strategist here at Texthelp, where for over 24 years we've been building software solutions to aid and promote accessibility and inclusion. Today specifically we're going to be looking at text-to-speech within the product family. And of course, we offer a wide range of products, including the product we're going to be looking at today, Read and Write, supporting accessibility and inclusion for reading, writing, study and research. But there's also Equatio, providing accessible maths content on digital platforms, WriteQ, to support automated assessment, feedback and tracking for writing, and Browse Aloud, providing assistive technology directly to all visitors of your website. So let's take a closer look at Read and Write, in use now by over 30 million users globally. Read and Write works as a software toolbar, which means it works within current environments and across many different platforms. It provides a comprehensive set of tools in one place, so students can have access to accessibility and support tools across all areas of literacy. And of course, central to that is text-to-speech, which we'll be focusing on today. In addition to working on all major platforms, text-to-speech from Texthelp will also work across many different formats: inaccessible scans, accessible PDFs, across web pages, in Google G Suite, on Microsoft Office documents, and also from printed paper with our Snapverter tool. So let's take a closer look. I've opened a Google document here, but this could also be a Word document. You'll see the purple puzzle piece in the top right hand side. Once I click it, I get access to a rich range of tools that can support literacy within this document. To play back, I place the cursor and press play, and text will be read aloud.
It may seem like the Earth is made up of one big solid rock, but it's really made up of a number of parts. Some of them are constantly moving. You can
This is set in continuous read mode currently, so it will continuously read the text on the page, and you'll also note the dual highlighting where the sentence is highlighted and then each individual word is highlighted further as it's read aloud. We have access to a wide range of options, so students can pick from over 60 different languages and also regional variations in English as well for accents. They can change the speed to suit, they can turn continuous reading on and off, or they can also turn on talk as I type, so when they're typing, words can be read back to them. And they can change the translation language, so they've access to a range of translations should English not be their first language. And these changes are immediately reflected.
It may seem like the Earth is made up of one big solid rock.
In this document, we have a diagram with inaccessible text, so we can use Screenshot Reader and simply drag across an individual piece of inaccessible text,
Mantle,
and have it played out loud. We can also turn the entire text into an audiobook simply by selecting all of the text or a selection of text and then pressing the audio maker icon. What this will do is automatically turn all of the text into speech and save it in an MP3 audio file you'll see at the bottom of the screen, so students can play this back on a device of their choice, and that will reflect the settings and the options that we explored previously. We also add text-to-speech into our other literacy support tools. So for example, in our dictionary,
Earth,
you can play back the word,
noun, the third planet from the sun, the planet we live on,
or the full definition. The picture dictionary, we can play back the individual word.
Earth.
And of course, we previously mentioned translate. So for single word translate,
Earth.
we can listen to the word,
Terre, terre, monde,
or the word in the translated language of choice. We've also added Read Aloud in both our prediction tool and for students as they are typing to help support writing. So, as students are answering or typing a question in either Google Doc or Word Doc, on each word it will read it back out loud.
make, up, the, crust.
And you'll see the word is read aloud after either a space or a full stop. This speech playback is also built into our prediction tool, which helps suggest words for students to write.
There, there's, therein.
Students can simply hover over suggested words to have them read out loud and place them directly in the document. Beyond platforms like Google Docs and Microsoft Word, Read and Write also provides text-to-speech in web pages with the same user-friendly toolbar. Simply open a web page, open up the Google extension or the toolbar, hover over any text on the page.
Going into space is a dream shared by children and adults around the world.
and have it read out loud using all of the options you've seen before, including of course dual highlighting and text-to-speech within dictionary and picture dictionary. Read and Write provides the same great support within PDFs through the Texthelp PDF reader, including click to speak.
In the same journey time that it would take a car to go from Manchester to Cornwall, the astronauts will travel into our atmosphere.
Simply click any text in a PDF document to have it read out loud. Inaccessible text is also available through Screenshot Reader in a PDF. Simply drag the box over the inaccessible text.
Environmental ethics and weak anthropocentrism.
And that's automatically read out loud with highlighting. Even more powerful is when Equatio is used with Read and Write. For maths content, we can simply open the Equatio toolbar within a PDF and use the same Screenshot Reader function. We drag a box over the maths content and it's automatically played out loud.
P equals 4x plus pi x over 5.
Making maths even more accessible through text-to-speech. Read and Write also works within EPUB, so when EPUB files are opened in a browser, it brings the same set of features on the toolbar, including text-to-speech. Simply hover over any text to have it read aloud.
A few miles south of Soledad, the Salinas River drops in close to the hillside bank and runs deep and green. The water is warm too.
And as you can see, Read and Write provides a seamless experience across all formats. But we also do this on all platforms, including on iPad, Windows devices, Chromebooks, Mac and PC, to ensure that students have consistent text-to-speech support everywhere. And that's Read and Write, a single toolbar running across all platforms and all media types to provide an essential set of literacy supports for all students, including of course a wide range of text-to-speech functions we've explored today. And you can find out more about Read and Write at the Texthelp site www.texthelp.com/readwrite, where we can provide you with more product information, but importantly essential resources to help students.
Okay, thanks to Texthelp as well. So, hold on a second. So hopefully that's given some idea of some useful features there. I'm just going to go back to the slides. There we go. So that was Claro, Read and Write. We've got some links in the notes for these, and we'll make sure that those videos stay in the resources file. So if you're interested in sharing any one of these, you can share them with your team. You can play them at meetings. You can send them to parents or children. We want to kind of build up a collection of resources that you can use for yourselves. Adobe has its own inbuilt kind of PDF reader that's quite useful. At this point, I'm just going to let you know that it's there and that we've got the guidance on how to use that in this presentation. We don't have time to show all of them today. Microsoft Immersive Reader, I'd say, is probably worth a show because I think that'll be quite popular. So I'm going to share my screen and just load that up. Okay, so yeah, first task is to go into wherever you want to read kind of the different things that you want to read. So if I go into one of my teams, you can access it if you've got Word files in here. You can also access it in your chat as well. And as being as lots of schools are using this, then it's really useful to have it inbuilt. So if I go to View, and then I go to Immersive Reader, then it will bring up this very simplified kind of mode and take the text that we're working with and put it there. There are lots of other different functions, but today, as we're focusing on text-to-speech, you hit play.
Accessing the community quiz.
And it'll read it out aloud. The settings are much more simplified, so kind of speed bar there, female and male. So as you can see, it's great because it's inbuilt, and this is something that's going to be available to everyone straight away. But for some learners, it's just not going to bring the range of features that they need. As you've seen from the previous products that we demonstrated, there's a real range of what you get from them. So people ask, oh, well, what's the best text-to-speech? It's a really hard question to answer, isn't it, Erica?
Yeah, it's very much just depends on the individual and their needs. And like with most apps, there'll be some free apps will be great for some users, but then actually, if they've got more specific needs, then it might be that you need to look at purchasing a specific app or set of resources.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of variables there, aren't there?
Yeah.
So while we're here, just to mention, if you don't have the most up-to-date version of Microsoft Office, there is an option in Microsoft Word to on the toolbar change it so that you can get a speak selected text. Once again, a really basic tool, but it might be that you have if a learner goes to a new computer and they don't have the software, it might just be a stopgap type tool that you can use. There's also TTS Reader. I think, Erica, you shared that one, didn't you?
Yeah, we've put a free link. We put the link to this because it's a free resource. We put the link in the notes section of the presentation, and we've put a few links for free trials for some of the resources that we've spoke about in the notes. And again, it will be in that resources folder. So for things like scanning pens, there's a free, I think it's a free 2-week trial for schools. So I think they maybe lend you 10 as part of the trial. So if you register as a school as opposed to a parent, which obviously then the parents can request 1 free pen per household. But all the links for any free trials that I think we spoke about will be in the resource folder.
Yeah. And Clicker as well, you wanted to mention.
We've just got a very quick snippet. I think it's about a minute long, isn't it, Neil, for Clicker? Yeah. I know Clicker is used widely across both mainstream and special schools, and we use it in our school predominantly for the Clicker grid aspect of the software. But for the text-to-speech version, we're just very quickly looking at Clicker Writer, and we will cover the Clicker grids and the literacy support further on. We've got a webinar. I think it's actually early next year, isn't it, about supporting literacy, Neil? And we'll cover that a bit more. But I think we've just got a very short video to show you.
Clicker provides the right level of writing support for all your learners. Beginning writers build sentences with whole words. Each finished sentence is automatically read aloud, so they review what they've written.
Mary and Billy rode their bikes.
And if there's a word they can't read, they listen to it first.
Flew.
Now they're ready to start choosing the words they want to use. Students progress to writing with the keyboard, with support from the talking predictor and word banks for topic vocabulary. Create your own set of Clicker grids in just a few seconds, or use one of the hundreds of ready-made ones from our curriculum team. There's something for almost every topic, at every level. To motivate your students and transform writing in your classroom, start using Clicker now. Find out more at cricksoft.com.
For now.
And it has a lot of the features that we've spoke about already. So at the end of a sentence, it will speak the whole sentence. It's got a nice predictive text feature, which encourages students to use maybe a wider range, some more unusual words that they don't use, that's kind of not part of the standard vocab. So it's a really nice feature. Yeah. But again, we'll put all the links to videos and trials and things.